sir, I can't do that. That father said, okay. And he almost, if it wasn't for those 3 bailiffs, he would have tore Nassar apart. He was right there. And Nassar, being the coward that he was, hid underneath the defense table like the sissy and coward that he is. And for the people, oh, we shouldn't condone this, and the prosecutor saying, I don't want to see this, we can't let this happen. I applaud that father. I applaud what he did. I have no problem of him wanting to run over there and tear that man apart. And I'm glad, the judge could have held him in contempt of court. There could have been other charges. Obviously, the judge, understanding the situation, did not do that. But can you imagine this position that this father is in? Standing here listening to his 3 daughters read their statement on what Nassar did. And obviously you can see, again, if you watch this video, as he gets handcuffed, one of the bailiffs kind of pats him on the back like, it's okay, I understand, I get it. And I think everyone in that courtroom understood it. I have no problem with what he did. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people that say, well, we shouldn't do that, blah, blah. No. I applaud what that father did. And I have no problem with him wanting to reach over that table and rip him apart. And obviously, I'm actually surprised that it got this far without something like that occurring. And those bailiffs were prepared. They knew there's a high chance somebody's going to want to go after this guy. And sure enough, that father said, enough's enough. I know the judge isn't going to grant me time in a closed room with this guy. I don't care what happens. I'm going to tear this guy apart. And almost got to him. He almost got to him. I 100% applaud what he did. And have no problem with it one bit. So LeBron has dismissed the rumor that he would be open to going to the Warriors if they made room for him. When this story broke, that there was an insider that said that LeBron would be interested, he would be open to going to the Warriors, I told everybody that asked me there's a very, very low chance of that happening. One, Kevin Durant got criticized enough for going there. Can you imagine the criticism that LeBron would get if he went there? Secondly, it would be very, very difficult for the Warriors to accommodate for his contract. They would more than likely have to get rid of Klay Thompson. Kevin Durant would have to take even lesser than what he's taking now to be there. And this is eventually going to fade out. The Warriors aren't going to be able to keep this forever. And this is what the NBA is trying to avoid. It doesn't want teams like this. It's not good for the product on the court. It's not good for the viewer, for the fan. Nobody wants to see one team continuously dominating and winning the championship. And right now the Warriors are in that position to do that. And NBA, in stabling that rule of when a player becomes a free agent, only the team that he's with can offer him a max deal. There's a reason they implemented that rule, and I call it the Golden State rule. Because they want to avoid teams like that being able to be creative. Now, granted, one thing you can say about Golden State is they created that from the ground up. They acquired Thompson. They acquired Steph Curry. And nobody really thought that Klay Thompson and Steph Curry were going to become what they are today. And they were able to entice Kevin Durant enough to go with them. And that's something that Kevin Durant's going to have to deal with the rest of his career. Yes, he won a championship, and he's probably going to win more than one there. But he did it with the cost of his image. Because people are always going to say, Durant bought a championship. You know, Thunder, we remember that season. Thunder had a 3-game lead on the Warriors. They should have won that series. The Warriors came back and won it in 7 games. What happened in the following offseason? Kevin Durant jumped ship and pretty much said, if you can't beat them, join them. And with that, Kevin Durant has taken a lot of heat. And he should have. Because that's what he did. So can you imagine if LeBron did that? If Kevin Durant took that much heat, could you imagine how much heat LeBron would take if he did go to the Warriors? I shot this story down once it broke because of those 2 reasons. One, LeBron would be torn apart for that for the rest of his career. And secondly, the Warriors would have to let go of too much for him to come back. And those 2 things aren't going to happen. Now, with that said, do I think that LeBron is going to be in Cleveland at the end of this season? No, I don't. And I honestly think that part of me believes that LeBron has already told some people that. Because at the end of last season, when it looked like the Cavs were going to possibly get Paul George, and we know LeBron had that phone-to-phone conversation with him, that's why Paul George went to Oklahoma City, folks. That's why he didn't go to Cleveland. And there is chaos there. There are issues there. And right now, if you ask me who would win a 7-game series, Boston or Cleveland, I would put my money on Boston right now. And the Celtics, they just grabbed Greg Monroe with the 1-year, $5 million deal from the Bucks. And that's a good added piece for them. But can you imagine the Celtics right now if Gordon Hayward was actually healthy? If Gordon Hayward was 100%? I mean, you can make the argument right now that the Raptors are better equipped than the Cavs are. The Cavs have the talent, they have the pieces, they just aren't playing well. And it's like I said when they got Isaiah Thomas, they didn't get any better. They did not get any better. Isaiah Thomas is a great player, he's a great shooter. But even in Boston, he didn't play good defense. And that's Cleveland's issue right now. Now, granted, they won the other night. They did it without Kevin Love. And I'm one that stands by they need to come off of Kevin Love. They need to come off of Kevin Love. And I've been one that's kind of steadily criticized Kevin Love because I've always said his numbers were inflated in Minnesota because he was their best player. He was continuously getting the ball because he was the legitimate only point option that Minnesota had at that time. Minnesota's gotten better since they got rid of Kevin Love. When they got Andrew Wiggins from Cleveland, I was the one that said they got the better end of that deal. And it's paid out well for Minnesota. Now, do I believe all the rumors that Kevin Love is the issue there? He's the one that's causing the rift in the locker room? No, I don't. I always say, every story that gets out like that is because somebody within that organization wanted that story out. Stories like that don't just get leaked for no reason. It's because somebody wanted it leaked. Now, granted, Cavs have had chaotic seasons before and been fine. The year that they fired David Blatt, when they had the best record in the league, they were number one in the East. They fired David Blatt midway through that season. Gave the job to Tyronn Lue, and the rest is history. They were down 3-1 to the Warriors. Everybody said they're done. Then the whole Draymond Green thing happened, and they ended up beating the Warriors and winning the championship. And I don't think the reception is going to be the same when LeBron leaves Cleveland this time. Because he did what he said that he wanted to do and was going to do there. And that's bring them a championship. And he did that. And he did that in a very difficult time. He did it when, it wasn't just the Warriors who were good then as well. There were some other pretty good teams that were moving. And obviously, people are always going to make that argument, well, if Draymond Green doesn't get suspended for a game, the Warriors win that series. We don't know that. Now, do I think that had some of a factor? Yes, but Draymond Green is not Steph Curry, and he's not Kevin Durant. They were still on the court. Well, I'm sorry, Kevin Durant wasn't. I'm sorry, not at that time. That was, not at that time he wasn't. But Draymond Green is not Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Now, did it affect them? Yes. But it's not the reason they lost that series. They were up 3-1. They only needed to win one more game. Kyrie Irving and LeBron James is the one reason that they lost that series. If Kyrie Irving is with the Cavs right now, and Isaiah Thomas is still in Boston, do you think Cleveland is having the trouble that they're having right now? I mean, let's not forget, Kyrie was a big part of that title win against Golden State a couple seasons ago. If he doesn't hit that three-pointer in Game 6, they don't go to a Game 7. And then in Game 7, he had a big game. Now, obviously, so did LeBron. If LeBron doesn't block that layup against Iguodala, Warriors probably would have won Game 7. But LeBron did what he said he was going to do. And I think LeBron knows it, just like the Cleveland fans know it. This isn't going to be the same as when he left to go to Miami. He's not going to be criticized. His jersey isn't going to be burned. He brought them a championship. He did what he said he was going to do. Now, on the other end of that, you can say, well, Dan Gilbert and that management has done everything that they can to keep him there. They've gotten him, for the most part, the players that they've wanted to get. But I go back again to last offseason. When they weren't able to get Paul George, that's when I told everybody LeBron's not going to be there after this season. Because I firmly believe that LeBron told Paul George, don't come here because I'm not going to be here. And I think that's why Paul George is on a one-year deal with OKC. And that's a high chance of why the Clippers moved off of Blake Griffin. They want to get in the LeBron, Paul George sweepstakes. Because they know if they can get LeBron, there's a high chance that they can get LeBron and friends. They can get more than just him. The Clippers didn't just move off of Blake Griffin. They made a lot of cap room and salary cap. A lot. So this Sunday, NBC, it's Eagles and Patriots, 6:30 p.m. I said at the start of the year, and I'm not going to come off of it, Patriots win this game. I do think it's going to be close. I've seen where a lot of broadcasters, analysts, and media people have said that this is going to be a 2-touchdown Patriot win. I've seen a lot of people that have picked blowouts. It's not going to be that. And for the most part, Patriots don't win Super Bowls by a lot of points. Their biggest win was last year against Atlanta, where they beat them by 6 points in overtime. But I think everybody